Welcome, Gabriel. It's a pleasure to have you here. How are you today?
Excellent. How are you doing?
All fine, all fine. You're in Berlin right now. It's gray as
Yeah.
always, or it's a little bit better?
Actually, yesterday it snowed, so everything was white. And
Oh,
today
nice.
everything is clear, but still cold.
Yeah,
So the winter started, I think, Europe-wide. How is
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Where are you right now? You're in Italy?
I'm in Italy. I'm in Italy right now, and usually it's sunny. Today is very gray and it's raining a lot. So yeah, I kind of invite you a little bit, remembering my old time in Berlin. So it's kind of nice there. Yeah, cool. Would you give us a little bit of introduction of yourself, a little bit of your background?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Sir. And I've been a founder since I think my first companies I founded with like 17. Now I've been
Hmm.
older from founding basically anything in like any industry from like clothes to like restaurant, tried it all out. Most prominently, actually, built Penta, business banking here in Berlin. Before now being at 0 to 9, before this, I actually did healthcare in the United States.
Hmm.
So been basically everywhere, touch based every sort of industry, but the only industry that I've come back to is fintech, and this is where I am right now. So right now I'm partner and CPO at 0 to 9 here in Berlin, and very excited to talk to you.
I think that you have been present in the most exciting period in German fintech ever. I mean, that period in time where you had like a lot of different kind of companies being born and raised every day in the fintech scene. While you were a Penta, of course. I think that was a very interesting period of time.
Well, not only for fintech, also for me. Definitely, it was. I think everybody was coming up with the craziest of ideas. I think just the like sheer confidence that anyone could like back in the day like just build a bank.
Yeah,
I think in the times back then that was like something that was like it wasn't as common as today, right?
yeah.
I think now things are like having seen all of these like big companies like being built. I think everybody kind of like saw it. Okay, it's in the grabs.
Mhm.
But back in the day, that was really exciting. Yeah,
Yeah, I can
definitely.
understand. Can you tell me a little bit more of that first period, maybe specifically about building Penta? Because I also been in, let's say, met the kind of way that Penta built over time when you guys were sold to Qonto in 2023, if I remember correctly. So I still remember that at the time it was a pretty good company, a pretty big company. So, and that was also a pretty big deal in that
Yeah,
moment in time.
yeah. It's so crazy for me to think about it that I'm like from creating the first pixel
Mhm.
or like just coming up with the name Penta to like what it actually became in the German industry and then being sold to Qonto. And how many people have been actually influenced by this product and by this company is incredible. I think the start is just like every start, just coming up with a crazy idea. We were like we seen back in the day like number 26, like before they were even called N26, just really back in the day, early days, and we are like, oh, let's do the same. And I was like, no,
Mhm.
let's not do the same. I think a common thread that we saw was that opening up a business bank account, that was more of a problem than just opening up a bank account. So the idea was like, let's build a bank for startups. Funny enough, we didn't know we were like 20, 22 and 23. We were like, okay, how do we even start? We don't have a fintech background, so we just asked in Quora, hey, how do you build a bank? and
That's kind of the easy way to do
that
it.
was the easy way. We got a lot of replies of actually experts, and this is how we got the ball rolling. We're like, it's actually possible. Having had like players like the Solaris Bank, just
Yeah.
starting right, it seemed like okay, you know what? Let's just try it. Let's just do it.
Because the banking as a service was Solaris in the backend, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. And it just made it easy. It
Mm.
was like building a bank on the easy mode.
Yeah, you basically had to focus a lot on the front end side, on the operation and front end, and on the user experience of the product itself. That I think was like your main area of expertise, right?
Yeah, I didn't get to mention this, but I'm a full design background.
Okay.
I started as a designer, but then just I think design just touches base so many different things when it comes to like a brand. Also today, if you differentiate between like the traditional banks, why would somebody go to like Deutsche Bank? Why would somebody go to Commerzbank? Why would somebody go to like Volksbank? I think it comes down to the brand, to how do you feel when you see that, when you see that, when you see the logo, when you see the website, when you see how they write, how the card looks, because they all end up offering the same thing.
Yeah. In the end, it's the same financial services. No one is like really innovating that.
Exactly. So why do you go to Commerzbank? It's probably because somebody said something. It's like, oh, my parents are at Commerzbank, so I'm going there as well. But with having such a like easy play into like the bank, I think the only like differentiator would be user experience and the brand itself. And I think initially for Penta, that was the only way to like step into the market and make a big impact, as if you have a really loud brand.
I think that, like, thinking back in time, in those specific period, I think that you guys were among the first that actually focused a lot on the SMEs segment, because you still had, like, for example, at the time, M20 Revolut, and all the other big, neobanks, but they were focusing mostly on retail, while you guys went directly for the corporates in that sense, And right now there is a strong focus on, selling B2B and selling exactly to corporates. So how did you end up doing that? Why did you decide to go for B2B?
I think it was a common problem that we saw. Everybody that started Penta, so we were 5 founders at the beginning. Everybody had their own companies before, and I think it was always a common thing that it was so tough to get a bank account. Like, why would you make having a bank account so tough to start a business? And I think that was essentially also the key to success. Company creation, you need a bank account. You also need the notary. We made this, like, we call it the Ingründung, the starting of a company, just as easy as possible. We brought the whole thing online, which was back then impossible. So just bringing this online really unlocked all the rest of the success. And, like if you're a business and you open up a bank account, it was so difficult, you're not going to do it again and again and again for different banks.
Yeah.
Right. So, it was great to not only start with the businesses, but keep learning and ask them as well, like what they need, and implement features based on their needs.
No, it's kind of interesting because right now there is this kind of strong push, on trying to attack the B2B segment and the SME segment in Europe. But I still think that there is no one like as strong as Penta was in the time, because we have many different kind of companies like doing that right now. And we have also a couple of very good German example there, like, for example, Vivid or Finom, that are trying to do that. We have a couple of very good Italian champions also in Italy, like, for example, Totti is a very good example there. But yeah, I think that Penta was kind of an exception there, because you guys like a skyrocket at the time in terms of users, in terms of adoption. So it was a huge success in that.
Yeah, I also thank you very much. But I also believe that the brand, the positioning, and the time was right for it.
Yeah.
I remember we had a big campaign. It was called the like Bye Bye Banks campaign, and in every like U-Bahn station, subway station in Berlin, we just had these like huge neon green posters, and the only thing that was written on there was like Bye Bye, and then a specific bank, such like Bye Bye Commerz, Bye Bye Sparkasse, Bye Bye Deutsche Bank, and nothing else. Just our website, like really really small in the corner, and it was just like it's enough, and people knew it's enough, and they were all looking for alternatives. There was not this like, the landscape was not like, it's still not big when it comes to like SME banking, right? Now you find a lot here in Germany. You go online, you see all the keywords are all taken. Now it's definitely tougher, but back in the day, as being like one of the first, especially the first one, big one in Germany, that really made it made it easy to be loud, and we use the space to be loud efficiently, and we also had a great product to go along with it.
Yeah, I still remember the front end, to be honest, when you actually try to onboard. But I was considering, the kind of comparison between that period in time and 2025 right now. So two like different era in fintech that were absolutely different, given the fact that you are, building like right now and you were building at the time? How do you see the comparison between those two moments?
I think there's the same type of like pressure
Hmm.
in a way, like not pressure, but the same like wind in the sails. Like if you
Hmm.
want to build nowadays, I think it's the easiest time to build. Back in the day, it was easy because there was not a lot,
Hmm.
and you could easily, like, let's say, copy products from the UK
Hmm.
or from France or from the States and just bring them to
Like
Germany.
doing a copycat and doing,
Exactly. And nowadays, I think the more like unsexy finance, unsexy fintech is becoming more and more popular.
Hmm.
So smaller products. Not, I don't think that a lot of people are going now for the like big, crazy, bold ideas. I think like banks, like normal banks, like consumer banks, have like crystallized themselves as like the winners. Also, I haven't really heard of like a new business bank nowadays, but it's more the smaller like the smaller niche products, which are easier to start because there's still demand for them, and there's not a lot of competition. Right? The
Yeah,
competition is still the traditional banks. So there's still a lot to disrupt them.
I strongly agree on the being easy to build something. Like right now, you don't actually need like a team of 10, 15 people to actually launch a bank. You can actually do that with way less than that. And I think that the kind of niche of the markets that you're talking about, they are still pretty much uncovered, to be honest, in certain kind of cases. Like SMEs at the time was one example. Right now you have different kind of example, like in specific segment or specific geographies where it's still like, for example, I was recently speaking with a couple of companies that were trying to build a lending product in the Philippines. That's a
Interesting.
huge market, totally untapped, where it's kind of very, very hard to actually launch a product, and it's very, very still traditional and paper based. So it's a totally uncovered market that is still in fintech in a
Yeah.
very, very traditional way. So it's lending, it's nothing crazy, but still totally untapped. And there are certain kind of niche over here and there, in the world like that one. And I think that is very interesting to see how people are trying to attack them over time.
Yeah. Philippines is a nice market.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm half Filipino. So when you said
Oh,
Philippines,
nice.
it would ring the bell. Maybe after the call, you send me
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
company's
More
name.
than happy to do that. But let's move forward. So first you started at Penta in fintech, then you moved to health. Why?
Yeah. Uh, good question. It seems very different, but both businesses are very regulated. It's not for my like passion of regulation. It's more of a, like a personal passion.
Yeah, I don't know anyone with a passion for regulation, to be honest.
Tough to find. I think health just plays such a core part in our everyday lives, and I feel like healthcare, same as banking was, it's just not there. It's just not
Mm.
there yet. It's still a shame that like most doctor's appointments stop after 5 minutes and they don't go deep. We believe that there was something to be disrupted, and we believed that doing it in the States was going to be a nice place to start, because later American products being more easily to adopt worldwide than European products in the States, so the other way around. And we actually did an amazing job at it. So we had a telemedicine company that was focused on the root cause, and where you get connected with doctors, where you get connected with nutritionists, and you get a health plan. It helped me personally. It helped my family members. We scaled it up to I think like up to 20 states, 1,000 patients. So that was amazing. That was definitely something new after the success at Penta, to go to a completely new industry and to a completely new market and have such like success that like actually touches lives and families. It's very,
Hmm.
very different. So it was fulfilling. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I think the expanding from state to state in America is as complex, like with a healthcare product, as complex as like expanding a fintech product, regulated fintech product from one country in Europe to the other. So you just need new licenses. You need to apply for them. Application times were to like a year. Like going from New York to New Jersey was like was like going from like
And it's basically
UK
the
to
same
Spain.
place.
And it's the same. Yeah, exactly. So after a while, the cost didn't make sense to keep it up, and we decided just to scale it down. And I just knew that I wanted to go back where things move faster.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a feedback that I heard multiple times, and it's the same in fintech in the United States. You can think of it as a nation, of course, but it's really a group of states that have different kind of rules, different kind of licensing. If you have a payment company, you need to have a payment license in each one of the 51 states. And you cannot passport like you do in the European Union. You cannot do anything of that. And it's kind of a problem, most in terms of time.
It's like you think the market is huge, but
yeah,
it's split in 50. And this is something that we didn't know how tough this part is actually going to be. I think for every business, especially the regulated, you always undermine how complex some things actually get and how much time you need to invest, and how much little time you have to actually invest into the process.
Yeah. Also to scale it up, because you assume, I'm going to do the first license in 9 months, then the second one is going to be easier. It's going to take 6 months maybe, and then it's again the same amount of time, the same amount of trouble. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. But talking about today a little bit more. So
yes,
I wanted to understand the kind of proposition that you guys are having at 0 to 9, because I've heard and I've read a lot of articles, and I've heard a lot of the interviews that you and your team made over time. The concept that stayed with me the most was the point about launching 1,000 companies in the upcoming years. So first of all, how are you going to do that? And second point, it's actually doable because it's kind of a big number.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most exciting parts about this. Just quickly, 0 to 9, the position, it's the first job that I take. So having been a serial founder, it must have been a really, really nice job for me to say no to another startup, because because of this, when I got hit with we want to build 1,000 companies until 2045, so for the next 20 years, I was like, okay, 1,000 seems crazy, but then they added another layer. They said 1,000 profitable companies.
Okay, no, so was so easy to build 1,000 that you added an extra layer on top of it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And my first question was also how. And actually, that is my job, one part of my job, actually building these systems. So how can you make sure that you can build systems that make sure that the companies are profitable very soon, are sustainable, and can build products that last and make an impact? How can you assure, as a company builder 0 to 9, that you make success more probable than without us? And this is for me an exciting part, because I don't only get to build one company at a time, but I can actually influence thousands within the next 20 years.
That's very interesting, to be honest. The real concept, the concept behind it is very, very interesting, of course. Obviously, there are a lot of question marks and everything on the how and the scalability of the kind of process. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I think that it's probably one of the best moments in time ever to actually launch something like this, given the kind of technology, given the kind of momentum that we have in Europe right now, given the kind of interest that there is in European companies. So I think it's a perfect moment to do something like that. It's going to be very interesting to see how, to see the kind of setup that you're building and the kind of your approach that you have in the market itself. The first question that could potentially come to my mind is, how are you going to select all of those entrepreneurs? I mean, how are you going to select all of those founders? You will have at least 1,000 people, running those companies. So you cannot run 1,000 company with less than 1,000 people, I would say.
Yeah, I think the do or die of every company is people. Yeah. If you have good seeds, you're gonna have great big trees. But if you have one bad seed, the whole crop might be done. So we take great pride in the people that we select. Thank God we don't have to select right now 1,000. We said 20 years, so it's we're very, very early. Right now, We just launched in Germany, and in Sweden we had launched maybe a couple months earlier. But we already have like 6 companies in the portfolio, and it's more this like learning by doing right now to start building these systems, to start building this like great offering that is very, very attractive for founders. We're looking for diverse founders. I think the mentality of a founder of like this entrepreneurship, but in an easy way, and enabling like people to like quit their jobs and join us. I think that's going to be a beautiful challenge to work on, because how many great talent are right now stuck at their job. They want to build something, they want to do something great, and they want to do more than just have their 9 to 5. I think we can enable that. We can enable this like opportunity to make a real difference, to make their own impact, to have their own like venture, to have their own company and their own success that they can attribute to themselves.
No, I would say the concept is amazing, to be honest. But get me a little bit through the process itself. Yes. So how do you choose them, first of all? How do you choose the idea? How do you guide them over time? And how do you sustain and back them, even from a financial perspective, if you do?
Yes, sure. So we have 2 streams. 0 to 9, and that's the own build stream, and that's the invest stream. The build stream, we have 4 streams in that, which is like the entrepreneur in residence. If you're a great talent and we see a lot of passion in you, but you come with an idea that maybe needs some work, we'd like to hire you as an entrepreneur in residence. You can work with us, you can co-build with us. We can get everything board ready. A great idea that fits into like our ecosystem, that doesn't collide with the other ventures, for instance, where you don't have to fight with other ventures, right? We can build this together. That's one stream. The other stream would be a founder with a great idea. Through our website, people can apply and can send in their pitch deck. And we have a clear process where we take a look at the pitch deck, see, again, what makes sense for us as an ecosystem, what is something that is like regulated, which is our like expertise, something that also leverages our license. And if we like the founders as well, this is something where we would start as the founder with idea. Another path would be in-house ideas. So let's say we see a niche as a team, and we want to build this company around it, but we still need founders for it. So we would first develop an idea, not too much, because we still want the founder to come in and have like full ownership of the idea. So we just give them a little bit, find the right founder, make it fit. They built the company in-house. And then the last case of it would be the expansion stream. If we have a very successful company, like let's say in Sweden, and they would like to localize to Germany, and they need an own CEO or an own like country manager, this is also a different like build stream, where it's a completely different market, where it still needs to be built up from the ground. And the other investment stream, that's the like classic VC arm, which we're not classically interested in the Series A, Series B VC type of investment, but the really, really early ones, where there's already a great idea.
They seed those kind of things.
Yes, exactly. There's already an entity, there's already an idea, they already had an MVP. They just maybe need the license as a leverage, or they just want to leverage from the whole like 0 to 9 package, which is like ecosystem, right? Or the financial side of things, because we obviously inject money into the companies, but we give them a guarantee that they don't have to like fundraise anymore. We want them to focus on building the company, and not, like if you create a company nowadays or back in the days, it's always the VC game is always the same. You're going to spend 75% of your time working for the VC and fundraising. So we want to take that away. We want to take that burden away, make things easier.
So they focus on being profitable from day one, basically.
Yeah, I think sustainability is super important. As soon as you show that you can become profitable and that you are profitable, you can then work on the vision. But the first step of like sustaining yourself is what's going to keep you afloat. I think there's so many companies, like I don't know who implemented this, like where they thought, okay, we're going to build a company and we're just going to live off from investment to investment round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, I know companies have to scale, I understand, but like build a sustainable business around it. My father likes to call it the easy way when you go for VC money, the easy way of building a company. So become profitable. Let's focus on this. And you get everything. You get the full support, right? We have different streams, different offerings, like different sectors of 0 to 9. Wait, sorry, let me rephrase that. So there's the 0 to 9 package that we can offer to every founder, which is helping like legal compliance. We help them obviously with funding, but with the whole like finance structure. They come to us, they get a salary. That's the small luxuries, like as well, like a laptop and like being part of like the ecosystem. They get help with experts that have been doing this for a while, that are experts in like brand, that are brand experts in go-to-market, experts in like MVP and strategy and product. So they get basically everything to just focus on their product and what they want to do. And we just tell them, instead of focusing on everything, just focus on becoming profitable. Focus on the core of the business, and then you can run. We like to call it the playbook as well. Basically build a playbook, the 0 to 9 playbook. So basically step zero being the idea, step 1 and being quit your job, step 2, let's build a company around it, step 3, first customer, go launch, then first customer, then break even, and so on and so forth, and level 9 being the exit.
So step 2 is already quit your job, so it's kind of interesting.
It goes fast.
Yeah, it goes fast. Yeah,
it goes fast, but you need commitment, right? You need commitment from all sides.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you always talk about, skin in the game in those kind of things. And this is actually having that. I mean, it's not for everyone, I would say, but it's kind of very, very interesting. And you were also talking about the kind of launch that you did in Sweden before Germany. So you are, let's say, experiencing that kind of momentum in the Nordics that is going on around, the Stockholm ecosystem and everything that is going on over there with Lovable and all the other, huge companies that have been launched over there. So how do you see that?
I was in Stockholm now, I think like 2 months ago for the first time, and there's something in the air.
Nice. I keep hearing that, to be honest.
Honestly, especially when coming to the 0 to 9 office, you feel like they do business different. I think we're here in Germany, we're so used to like having all of our own like systems and having all of our like control and micromanaging. When you're over there, I think the only philosophy that counts around the business is, I'm going to do everything so you have everything to be successful. This doesn't matter what you need at what time from whom, they're going to prioritize you so that you can move on. I personally don't know if this is throughout like all of the successful companies in the Nordics or in Stockholm, but from what I've seen, this is a core differentiator to how we're used to doing business, or how we are taught to do business, or to do the startup game here. I think everybody focuses on the books and the lean way and agile systems. I think in the core philosophy, there's a huge difference. Yeah.
And maybe because this kind of approach and this kind of topic has been raised multiple times, about the kind of things and the kind of action that European Union need to implement in order to catch up the gap that we have with other ecosystems. Do you think that the kind of air that you're breathing in Stockholm recently, we can actually passport that to the rest of the union, and implementing similar ecosystem in Berlin, in Paris, in Milan, in Madrid, and everywhere else?
I think that would be a great challenge, but I think it's possible. I think the startup world is forever changing. What used to be small, wild startups back in 2015 are now the serious ones with 500 employees across 8 offices. So I think it's about the new ones to make that change, to change the way that we do business, and to change the air as well. And if we do it often enough, I think it can change a whole like ecosystem. I believe so.
That would be the target, I would say. No, that's really, really interesting. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting, to be honest, to see that happening.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds great. And yeah, maybe one topic that I was thinking about when we were talking about having those kind of people and that kind of volumes in terms of company launched over time. Do you plan to use AI as well as having those entrepreneurs in place, or is just a matter of operational setup, just a matter of playbook. So are you planning to use certain kind of tools in order to scale that much?
We already do, and we're working on it. I think AI is obviously here to stay. It makes things so much easier from a business creation perspective, but also from a whole organization level perspective. Doing things like research. This morning I was doing market research.
Mm-hmm.
If I compare this to the times like 10 years ago, it's incomparable. Like it would have taken me a whole week. So I think there's two things that we're gonna focus ourselves on, and that's on one side, inside of the company, implement as much AI as possible to make things easier, faster, and more understandable. Because if you're trying to manage these 1,000 companies, you will need help.
Yeah, for sure.
And you also need to build these systems to make sure that each company is successful as well. And on the other side, yeah, we're taking huge bets on AI. I think that is the future. And one of these is Hugo, who was our first in-house idea and in-house product here in 029 Germany, where we have basically a smart AI system, an everyday smart AI system in your pocket. Think about you're wearing an Apple Watch, right? So you're fully aware of your physical health. What about if you were fully aware of your financial health as well? And you would get tips on how to improve, right? Things that you're doing great, things that you should be doing better. So this is going to be very, very exciting as the first AI product in our ecosystem.
Yeah. I think that, also taking into consideration the kind of scale that you were talking about, I think that that kind of technology was meant to be one of the key driver for the kind of expansion that you guys are planning. I have to say that I've tried to spend as much time, and I use it every day, both in my day-to-day operation at work and my private life, in those kind of things. It has become over time something that you cannot live without, or at least something that you cannot work without.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's not optional anymore, I would say, in those kind of things. And
how do you see it? Sorry to interrupt you. How do you see it in terms of the finance world and AI?
Well, to be honest, we are using that everywhere, basically. So in every kind of operation and every kind of front end, for example, interaction with the users and everything else. And at the same time, to be honest, I struggle to find in my memory a recent company that launched without it. Like, for example, a funding round announcing a company in fintech that wasn't, implementing AI in some way, or any kind of fintech news that wasn't, involving AI in some kind of way. So you can still see that it's here to impact everything and is here to remain. The real question behind it, in my opinion, because obviously it's so much bigger than just this kind of market, is that the kind of impact that in the beginning is obviously positive for production, for efficiency and everything else, the kind of impact over a long period of time can actually impact the workforce in the end. And sooner or later, you will have people that are not working anymore, but then you need to sell them product too. So that is the kind of, let's say, risk that I see at the horizon. But I'm not sure on how those kind of things will evolve over time. I think in financial services, we can use it basically in every kind of backend operation. I mean, I spent 3 years in Germany working in finance, and there are still faxes going around right now in Germany. So it's kind of crazy, the kind of thing that we can see, for example, tomorrow. So yeah, that's my take. But how do you see that, compared, for example, with your kind of financial background, your background in fintech, but also with the kind of things that you are building right now?
I find it very, very exciting as a whole. But I also a little bit inflated. I've heard some stories of companies wanting to raise, companies that have been there for a while and they just want to raise, but they have nothing to do with AI. And it's just so tough for them to raise if they do not implement AI. And you see it here and there where it's just used just to be used without adding sometimes true value. And it's, I don't know, quick example. I was on the Amazon app and they have the AI on the bottom right. I just pressed on it out of accident.
Yep.
And I just don't know what to do with it. It's just
there to be there, basically.
Exactly.
I get the same, for example, with the AI on WhatsApp. I don't really get what should I do with that?
Exactly. So it just gets to an extent where it's just like overblown, and I'm afraid that it just keeps on going this route until the whole market starts settled. But from a business perspective and from a whole market and especially fintech perspective, especially here in Germany, I think there's still so much to do. So many things to be made better and replaced. Like here, you still have such old traditional constructs where you have the classic Berater, the people that want to sell you normal financial instruments, right? Where that they sit in all the banks and try to sell you classic products. And I think that would soon be replaced.
Yeah.
Very, very soon.
Yeah. I was recently reading an interview. I think it was Elon Musk saying that, let's say, a very, very particular profile, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But what he said is stuck with me a lot. He was saying something like, if you are moving atoms with your work, meaning you're doing something pragmatical, you're a plumber, you're an electrician or something like that, you're a cook or something, then your work is safe for a while. Long term, we can automate all of those kind of works with robotics, but those kind of works will remain there even for a long time. If you are doing something digitally, then your job is going to be replaced in a lightning way. Like you wouldn't even understand how fast it will be replaced. And to be honest, as much as I think about it, as much as I agree with him, I think that even being very, very honest, with a very good AI, you can actually replace probably me. I don't know about you, of course, but it's going to be very, very possible in the future, at least for a good percentage of the kind of work that you do every day. Probably there's still something on the creativity side and on the problem solving side that are still, a human work. But even that one, yeah, it's just a matter of time, in my opinion.
I fully agree. I fully agree. I still like the whole founder,
Mm-hmm.
the whole founder section. I think this is when it becomes more and more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because through AI, we're also very, very enabled. Long term, the founder will be replaced. I doubt it.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
that's a
Because I
very good
think there
question.
will always be problems to solve. And if somebody puts themselves in that position to wanting to solve it, they can still use AI as a tool there.
But it's kind of an interesting question. I mean, if you take out the idea, the idea itself, the founder that is running a company, mostly in companies today where they have, very small teams, you can actually automate a huge part of that work.
100%. Yeah.
So potentially you can have a founder that is basically AI tomorrow, doing greatest part of the journey, probably not in the same way a human would do. And probably it's going to be very hard to work under that founder. But apart from that, yeah, I can see that happening, to be honest.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's definitely a very, very interesting take. If it will essentially replace a founder, it would make the work at 0 to 9 very interesting. If we were to hire AI as
You can actually use this idea to launch those 1,000 companies, to be honest.
I don't know if we do believe a lot in the interhuman aspects, and how well we get along in a team. So that would be definitely very tricky to test.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think that there was another very important topic that I was thinking about when talking about the kind of modern fintech market compared to, for example, the time when you actually launched Penta, for example. So one topic is of course AI. I think that the other real huge topic in the market is probably stablecoins and everything that we see about cross-border payments and payments nowadays in general. So I wanted to understand your take on stablecoins today. Do you see them taking over, for example, the payments market? I would say in Europe, but globally probably would be a better fit.
I personally don't have I'm not a friend of it. I'm not a friend of the technology, but this is just because I don't know. I know a lot of people that have influence in it and that have a lot of knowledge in it, but I have nobody that convinced me that this is truly the future. It's definitely not a focus of 0 to 9. Right? We love regulated business.
Oh, okay.
And everything that is blockchain, crypto, it's just not our focus. I think there's still so much to be done in the traditional, like, let's call it unsexy finance sphere. So much to be found, so many people to help there that we leave the whole, like, that whole side to others to figure out. What is your take on it?
Well, to be fair, I'm on the opposite side, to be honest.
Yes.
I think that it has mostly to do with the kind of struggle that you have to make if you want to do that in the traditional way. So something that I've been working a lot on is like FX payment and cross-border payments. Let's suppose that there's a perfect example in my opinion. Let's suppose that you are I don't know, Spanish entrepreneur, and you are very, very near to the North African region, of course, and you can export there as much as you want, according to regulation, of course. If you want to pay one of your customer or one of your provider, for example, in Morocco, that would be a mess for you. That is kind of a nightmare because you need actually bank account in one country, bank account in the other. You need to make FX, you need to make a settlement, you need to take in consideration interest rate, currencies. It's kind of a mess. And with stablecoin, you can actually trade with the same kind of currency, with wallets, like in an easiest way, less time, less money, less cost. It's kind of a no-brainer from that
100%.
perspective.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. When it comes to like international transactions, it just makes fully sense.
Yeah.
But the like, I don't know, I see the whole widespread like adoption to it. I see it a big challenge. Just because the name, like, so like stablecoin crypto, it just the name has been dragged so often. I think there's still until like big businesses have incorporated that, I don't think that it will like widespread.
That's a good point
to everyone.
I think that kind of adoption will come sooner than we think, given that I already see today like companies trying to implement a full flow end-to-end with stablecoin, not just the payment, but also the settlement on the other side and the accountability and accountant part internally. So having, for example, a balance sheet with a specific voice, for example, for USDC or USDT. So I see this happening right now. Common adoption is not there yet, of course. But what I let's say agree with you is, let's say I don't see someone, for example, today opening a wallet and having his life saving in USDC or USDT, because that's still one of those kind of things where, you don't have the safety, you don't have the security, because there's nothing about the regulation there, at least in Europe. So if I open an account with, I don't know, USDT, for example, right now, I'm pretty confident that they will be there tomorrow, but if something happens, I will have no guarantee at all, like zero. And that's kind of a problem. If you do that with a traditional bank, but also with a digital bank, you will still be protected by the Central European Bank, by the central banks in your country, and everything else. That's kind of a layer of protection, a layer of safety that, in my opinion, with stablecoin is still not there.
I think what you said is really nice because of you're basically leveraging just the technology part of it.
Yeah.
And so from a like user perspective, they don't notice. They don't notice this like the long addresses that you need to copy paste, that you need to make sure, right? They just want to send money and they want to receive money. They don't want to transact. They don't want anything.
Yeah.
The simple receive money. If you just leverage the technology, yes, it is a better technology.
I think that if you want to make a comparison, I see it like, for example, when the first neobanks launched in that moment in time, for example, you had traditional banks and then you had neobanks coming, and no one was, putting their savings in the neobanks because they don't know them. They don't have a physical branch. They, it's kind of strange in the beginning.
Yes.
Then over time, people reacted and people understood what neobanks were. And now they are using them as normal banks, they're in the mind of the final user, they're very, very similar to a normal bank. I think something like that will happen with stablecoin over time. I think that probably the corporates will adopt them first, and then over time you will see also people doing that. Probably it's going to be slightly different, but I see the kind of adoption.
Yeah. When I initially said that I don't believe in them, or that I'm just a bit on the other side, was that it's just that the whole like value creation of a stable coin, like where does it generate its value from? and how is it like backed? I think that's just, for me, a little bit
unclear. Yeah,
Because they
and if
handle
it's
it like
unclear
deposits, right? On the other side, they handle it like deposits, and then during that time, they can do whatever they want.
It's a good point, and I would add, if it's unclear for you that you work in this system, in this market, try to think about, a standard person that is working in anything else in manufacturing, trying to explain those kind of things to them is going to take a while. So I think, it's just a matter of curve of adoption and time, to get there.
If I have to sell something for like $100 to a different country, then it's fine. I'll send my $100 because it's easier, more convenient, and I don't have to go through all these hurdles. But if I have to sign up my multi-million-dollar business to transact, that's a whole different ballgame. And this
absolutely agree. Yeah, I guess totally agree. Yeah, sir, this was a very, very interesting conversation, to be honest. Thank you very much for being with me today. And I really, really hope that you achieve your target. And I can't wait to see those 1,000 companies operating tomorrow. So good luck with that. And a pleasure again to have you again.
Thank you so much, Michele. That was really, really great. But why don't you apply? Why don't you?
We can think about it. We can talk about it. We can talk about it.
You seem to know a lot about fintech. I like you.
Yeah.
You can teach me one or two things. Yes.
Yeah, I can. Probably I can.
For sure. Yes, for sure.
Cool. Thank you very much again. Have a nice one. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.